Greetings, friends. At this festive time of year, there's nothing finer than indulging in fanciful delights from Christmas yesteryear. And it was from the pen of Charles Dickens himself that I first encountered that convivial winter treat, smoking bishop. Decades ago, during an annual Christmas extravaganza at a local winery, an actor, quoting from the text of Dickens' beloved work, A Christmas Carol, would close the recitation every night with the words of that reformed miser, Ebenezer Scrooge, expressing his newfound Christmas spirit to his clerk, Bob Cratchit. "A merrier Christmas, Bob, my good fellow, than I have given you for many a year. I'll raise your salary and endeavor to assist your struggling family, and we will discuss your affairs this very afternoon over a Christmas bowl of smoking bishop, Bob." What? Smoking bishop? What was that? What made it worthy of such prominent mention in Dickens' Christmas masterpiece? I was determined to find out. I'd grown up watching dozens of adaptations of the great story in film, on television, even as animated children's cartoons, but I couldn't recall ever hearing the name Smoking Bishop. Here, take a look.
Well, we'll talk it over later, Bob, over a bowl of hot punch.
Nope, no mention.
And we'll discuss your affairs this very afternoon over a bowl of Christmas punch.
Well, we'll discuss the particulars this afternoon over a Christmas bowl.
A bowl of what?
And we'll discuss your affairs this very afternoon, Bob.
What the heck was that? Come on, someone has to know what Dickens was talking about, right?
I will raise your salary, and we will discuss your affairs this afternoon over a Christmas bowl of smoking bishop, Bob.
Aha! Eureka! So, there you are, Smoking Bishop. Having found corroboration in other media, it was time to do some research. In 19th century England, there was a great demand for non-alcoholic, or mostly non-alcoholic, beverages that were safe to drink. Sanitation was far from modern, and clean drinking water was difficult to acquire in the cities. That's one reason people were so enamored of drinking tea. The water had to be boiled first, rendering it fairly safe to drink. And tea was certainly popular. But man doesn't live on bread alone, and there's only so much tea you can choke down. One source of soft drinks versus hard drinks, or liquor, was a wide variety of beverages known as punch. There were hundreds of recipes for such punch, usually made from wine, gin, or some other liquor diluted with water and flavored with sugar, fruit, and spices.
This'll make the finest quality punch, Mr. C, and only tuppence a pint.
Christmas punch? It's a Cratchit speciality.
These punch recipes were sometimes named according to their color, by comparing it to the color of the garb traditionally worn by clergymen. These punches included Pope, made with Burgundy, Churchwarden, made with ginger wine, Cardinal, made with champagne, Archbishop, made with sherry or claret, and the Chorister, made from white wine. And so, the deep purple hue of port wine, the color of a bishop's robe, resulted in the name of the popular punch known as Bishop. It was served cold in the summer months. In chillier weather, it could even be served smoking, meaning heated almost to the point of boiling, steam rising from its surface like wisps of smoke. Long, funnel-shaped wine warmers were used for the purpose, stuck into the hearth of the fireplace to heat the contents safely. Another traditional way to warm up drinks quickly in that era was to heat a metal poker in the fire and plunge it into the punch bowl, roiling the mixture to spectacular effect, which is a great party trick or tavern stunt. Pretty much exactly like this, in fact.
The poker topper.
That's you.
So, that's smoking bishop explained. Now that I knew what smoking bishop was, I needed to make some. Bishop, or bishop's cup, has existed since at least 1755, when Samuel Johnson included it in his English language dictionary by defining it as a mixture of wine, oranges, and sugar. There are lots of recipes for mulled port wine punch that have survived to modern times. But eventually, I settled on a recipe I liked. I found it in the liner notes for the 1907 edition of A Christmas Carol by editor E. Gordon Brown. Brown recommended the addition of a tart grapefruit to counter the sweetness of modern oranges, to better match the taste of Seville oranges of yore when those weren't readily available. Plus, it made a good-sized batch, suitable for party drinking. Hooray! I use that recipe every year when I make my annual batch of smoking bishop, and it has tendered great critical acclaim among my holiday party guests, so it's the one I share here now. Let's start with the ingredients. To make this smoking bishop recipe, you'll need the following: 5 unpeeled oranges, the sweet American kind, available at your local grocer. 1 unpeeled grapefruit. 36 cloves. These are whole cloves with the pointy part intact. The bigger the better. 1/4 pound, which is 5 ounces of sugar. It's easier to use powdered sugar, which dissolves faster. Also, if you have a sweet tooth, you can add more to taste. 10 ounces max. Trust me, you want it kind of tart, but not too syrupy. 2 750 milliliter bottles of red wine. Any red wine will do, of any brand. The cheaper, the better. You can also substitute 1 1.5 liter bottle in place of 2 smaller ones. 1 750 milliliter bottle of port. Again, the cheaper the better. For historical accuracy, it's best to use ruby port, not tawny port. Seriously, don't ruin good wine by mulling it into punch. The recipe calls for the cheapest stuff you can get your hands on. Preheat the oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Wash the fruit. Place the fruit on a foiled cookie sheet or in a glass baking dish and oven bake until it starts to brown, about 35 minutes. Turn the fruit over and continue to bake for another 35 minutes until brownish all over. 75 minutes total baking time. This is to caramelize the fruit and desiccate the interior pulp. I'll explain why in a minute. Some other recipes warn you not to brown the fruit, but this one calls for brown fruit to bitterize the rind. Remove it from the oven and allow the fruit to cool. Seriously, don't burn your fingers on the next step. Then, poke cloves through the skin of each piece of fruit, pointy side inward, at least 6 cloves per piece of fruit. More can be used if desired, up to 12 apiece. I like a lot of cloves in mine. Now, put the clove-studded fruit into a warmed earthenware bowl. A ceramic cooking bowl or crock pot will do. Something that will keep room temperature and really avoid anything metal. It could react with the citrus acid of the fruit and affect the taste. Add the sugar and pour in the wine, but not the port. Add any additional spices desired, nutmeg, cinnamon to taste. I usually use a teaspoon of powdered nutmeg and a few cinnamon sticks. Now cover it and store it in a warm place for approximately 24 hours. During this time, the fruit will steep while the desiccated pulp inside the fruit sucks up the sugar wine spice mix directly through the cloves. It's kind of cool. The next day, remove the fruit from the bowl. Squeeze or juice all of the fruit, then discard the fruit rinds and pulp. Add the fruit juice to the wine mixture. Now add the port. Carefully strain the resulting mixture through a wire mesh strainer into a bottle or a pitcher. A funnel comes in very handy for this. And that's it! Congratulations! You've made the bishop. But it's not smoking yet. To serve, Heat the final mixture in a small saucepan until it surfaces smoking, visibly steaming, but do not boil it. Always serve smoking warm. The yield is 15 to 20 servings. It stores quite well for 4 to 6 weeks. I usually repurpose the original empty wine bottles for that. It helps to revive it later by adding a jot of brandy to reawaken the flavor before serving. Cheers! And might I add, God bless us, everyone.